Hey, what's up, guys? So I'm literally taking a crap right now, and the inspiration for a video struck me. So I figured instead of waiting until I'm done, where the inspiration for the video might wear off, I figured might as well capitalize on it now and capture this moment raw and live. I was on Facebook and someone mentioned Gary Johnson, and they said, hey, come out to see Gary Johnson, and they said, come out and find out what third-party politics is all about. And this is what I've found to be true about a lot of anti-Trump libertarians. Let me fix my hair here because, God forbid, I don't look good enough whilst taking a crap, right? This is one thing I've learned about anti-Trump libertarians is that they tend to say things like, well, Trump's a Republican, and the Republican Party is a scam. The two-party system is a joke. So we need to go third party because the Republicans and the Democrats are the same. And that's funny because, number one, yeah, we all know that the Republican and Democrat parties are the same. But you have to understand that Donald Trump isn't a Republican. If he was a Republican in the traditional sense of the term, then the Republican establishment wouldn't have tried to rob the election from Donald Trump the way they tried to do through the delegate shenanigans system.
Well, let me just, he wants to be a tough guy, and it doesn't work very well with
How tough is it to take property from an elderly woman?
Let me talk. Quiet.
How tough?
A lot of times.
Furthermore, I would actually say that Donald Trump actually is a third-party candidate. In 2012, I don't understand how these anti-Trump libertarians don't realize this. In 2012, Ron Paul, who's a libertarian, essentially a third-party candidate, ran as a Republican. If Ron Paul had won the Republican nomination, would that mean that Ron Paul was somehow a Republican and not actually a libertarian third-party independent candidate? Of course not. It just means that Ron Paul hijacked the Republican Party to adopt libertarian values. And of course, the other ironic thing is that so Gary Johnson is third party. Oh, great. You mean third party like this McMullen guy? You guys might have heard about Egghead McMullen, that recently the GOP establishment is now pushing their own third party candidate to represent the Republican establishment because they're angry that Trump took over the establishment, that Trump took over the Republican Party and Trump does not represent the values of the establishment. So, okay, Gary Johnson is third party. Third party like what? Third party the way McMullen is? It's funny to me that anti-Trump libertarians will say, oh, well, they'll cite the fact that Gary Johnson is a third-party candidate, as if the mere fact that you're third party is some type of statement to the eligibility of a candidate. Like, sure, generally speaking, you would think, okay, you have these two establishment parties that nobody trusts. You would want an alternative, independent third-party candidate. I get it. But at the same time, just because someone runs third party doesn't mean that they're the real deal, i.e., Mr. McMullen. Mr. McMullen, who is literally an establishment candidate running third party. Donald Trump took over the Republican Party as a populist candidate. And it's essentially no different than when Ron Paul took it over, except Donald Trump isn't, your textbook libertarian candidate. But I don't think that necessarily matters. I think first and foremost what matters is self-preservation. Someone the other day on Twitter said, oh, well, Chris, you sold out to statism when you came out in support of Donald Trump. You sold out to statism. I said, I didn't sell out to statism. I sold out to a government that's accountable to the people and competent and efficient. Okay? And you know what? I would say that most libertarians, the reason they supported Ron Paul, the reason libertarians have these anti-government views is not because they want a country that down to the T follows basic, philosophical principles out of your fucking Murray Rothbard libertarian handbook. They're anti-big government. They're pro-libertarian, the average libertarian, because they want a government that is accountable to what it says it's going to do and should do if government is going to fucking do anything. So to me, the biggest problem with the government It's not that there's a fucking government. It's that it's an incompetent, inefficient, and unaccountable government that literally sells out this country to foreign interests. So, it's just fucking bullshit, man. All I gotta say is anti-Trump libertarians are, a lot of them, they seem to be very dumb. They just think, oh, if I just say the word third party, that must mean that I'm being counter-establishment and that I must be on the right track. Like, no, that worked back in 2012. Okay? Saying that the two parties were identical and it's all a scam and don't vote, that was relevant in 2012. You know, nowadays it doesn't make any sense. It's funny. Back in 2012, I would always tell conservatives who were pro-Mitt Romney, I would tell them, you know what? You guys support Ron Paul, you just don't know it yet. There was a lag. Traditional conservatives were lagging behind this libertarian awakening that's been going on in the country for a long time now. And I always said, you support Ron Paul, you just don't know it yet. And guess what? Over the next few years, libertarianism exploded in popularity. Immediately after the 2012 election, when Mitt Romney lost, Glenn Beck officially came out and said, I'm a libertarian now. Conservatives started to become libertarian. And I believe that modern day anti-Trump libertarians, these anti-Trump libertarians, they are the equivalent of the Mitt Romney supporters who didn't like Ron Paul. These are the same people lagging behind. So anyways, that's my rant from the toilet. And these anti-Trump libertarians are a funny group, man.
They lied.
Okay.
They said there were weapons of mass destruction. They knew there were none.
My mom is the strongest woman I know.
She should be running.
This is not about my family or his family.
Okay.
This is about the South Carolina family.
Fight back against YouTube censorship by supporting me on Patreon. You'll also get access to exclusive, never-before-seen videos and other perks like monthly Google Hangouts with me, free books and t-shirts, and more.